Stefan Verstappen joining the show. And I think we're going to rehash right off the bat a few different topics which we've skinned the surface in times past, but we're also going to be talking emergency funds for preppers. And I think he's going to talk in at least 3 different areas there. So go ahead, Stefan. Thanks so much for joining us. And going to be a great show today and hopefully the Sunday.
Thanks for having me back on, Eric. Always good to be.
Yeah, man. Good to get you back up.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So, listen, we've spoken about a couple of things in the past, and what I want to talk about today, I bet you probably haven't heard before, and that is in preparing your bug out plan and putting together your bug out kit and your everyday carry kit and your emergency kits. I bet most people don't take into account emergency funds, money. So let me go over a few things that we should do. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the pocket emergency kit. We've talked about this before. You know, we have our bug out bag and that we keep in the house. But what if you're, out in the car, or you're on a bicycle trip, or you're on the bus into work, and then shit hits the fan? Well, how are you going to get back to the house to get your bug out bag? So I recommend everybody carry a small personal emergency kit. Now, my emergency kit is basically a canvas pouch about 4 inches by 6 inches. So it's a little bit larger than the Altoids tin emergency kit, which I also have one, which fits right in your shirt pocket. But because I do a lot of bicycling, as we've spoken about before, I keep a slightly larger emergency kit that I put in my backpack anytime I go out on the bike. Now, what we haven't talked about before is emergency funds. Now, when I go on my bicycle rides, typically don't bring my wallet. Well, there's no sense taking my wallet anyways because I never have any cash in it. I've got 2 credit cards, but they're pretty much always maxed out. So I just bring my emergency kit. But what I do have in my emergency kit is some emergency money. I have $50 in my emergency kit. I have a $20 bill, a $10 bill, a $5 bill. And now here in Canada, we have coin money. So I have 5 toonies, which is a $2 coin, and I have 5 loonies, which is a $1 coin.
Now, is there a picture of Trudeau on that one?
No, actually, it's not. Really? They're not too horrible. They have the Queen on one side, and on the other side, they have a picture of a loon, which is one of my favorite birds, so it's okay.
Oh, gotcha. So, I had a different reference for a loony.
Oh, yeah,
if that expression holds true in Canada, but a loony is like a crazy person.
Loony would be too mild a term to apply to Adolf Castro there. It would be psychopath or Caligula, So the reason why I have this, and to be honest with you, it's come in handy. So I'm on my bicycle ride, and usually I go for long trips, and I like to get lost. It's part of the fun for me, and then I get lost and try to find my way back. I got to go south till I hit the lake, and then follow the lake. What if I have an accident? What if the bike breaks down? Now, I have a repair kit in the emergency kit, but what if I can't fix it? What if it's something so bad that I can't fix it? Well, now I got to take the train, or take the bus, or take a taxi. And I always have bus money on me. That's what the $50 is for. And the coins are there because what if I need to buy something from a vending machine? You're waiting at the train station for the train to come in, and you want to grab a sandwich and a drink, and there's vending machines there, and that's why I have the coins. That's why I have the loonies and the toonies. Now, in the States, you still have a 50-cent piece and a $1 piece, but they won't be accepted into vending machines, so they're pretty much useless. We have the same thing here in Canada. I can't even go to the grocery store and buy anything with a Canadian $1 coin, silver coin. Anyways, so that's one form of emergency money. $50 in your everyday carry, in your emergency kit, just in case you get separated from your wallet, you get separated from your house. You still got enough money to take the bus home. The second thing is your bug out bag. Now, I got this idea from reading a book called Bravo 2 Zero. I don't know if you've heard of that book. I've read a lot of books in researching my book, The Art of Urban Survival. And Bravo 20 is a story about an SAS team during the Gulf War. Now, SAS stands for Special Air Service. It's a division of the British Armed Forces, and it's approximately akin to the U.S. Navy SEALs. Now, what I was surprised to read in the book is that all members of the SAS team have 20 gold coins sewn into their belt. Now, this is because a lot of times these guys are behind enemy lines, and in an emergency, they've got 20 gold coins. Now, gold is universally famous as retaining its value. You can show a gold coin to an Arab, to a Chinese, to an Indonesian, to a Mexican. Everybody knows what a gold coin looks like and what kind of value it contains. So these SAS members, when they're parachuted behind enemy lines, they've got 20 gold sovereigns, which is a British coin. It's roughly 7 grams of gold. And they have that sewn into their belt. And it's supposed to be used for an emergency in case they need to buy a camel to escape, or bribe a border guard to look the other way when they go over the border, or buy a beat up old pickup truck so they can get their teammates out of there. And that is the purpose of having these things sewn in there. Now, I've researched it, and this actually goes back to World War II, where pilots and paratroopers, so again, people that might end up behind enemy lines, they were given what was called a life barter kit. Now, in this life barter kit is a gold coin, an expensive watch, a couple of gold rings, and a gold chain. So again, the idea is that if you are behind enemy lines and you have to get back to safety and you need to bribe somebody, again, gold, everybody knows what gold is. And you've seen this in the movies a lot of times. The guy's in trouble, the military's picked him up, he takes off his expensive watch, he hands it to him and says, look, here, take this expensive watch, just look the other way while we go down this road. And that was the purpose of this life barter kit. Now, listen, we are looking at the same situation. If you are bugging out, then let's assume that you're behind enemy lines. You might need to have something, some form of money as an emergency that you can, buy a car, buy a ticket to a ferry to get out of the country, to get over the border. So I would recommend that you sew into your bug out bag. Now, hopefully your bug out bag has a waist strap. I've recently upgraded my bug out bag to a much bigger, backpack, and it's got, the big padded hip strap.
Right.
Lots of room in there to hide some gold or some silver, whatever you've got handy. So I tend to buy gold in bullion. I have, 1 gram, 3 gram, 2.5 gram, and 5 gram. I don't have anything larger than 5 gram bars. But, I could easily sew 4 or 7 of those 5 gram gold bars into the belt on my bug out bag. And so that means if you're bugging out, you grab your bag, and no matter where you go, you still have enough money. It'll add up to about, $1,500, $2,000, that you can buy equipment, you can bribe people, you can buy food and supplies, and that's there always. You're not going to spend it. Nobody's going to rob you of it because it's sewn into the belt. So I would recommend that. Now, I know when I recommend that only about, let's say, less than half of your listeners will be able to afford to do that.
Oh, okay.
Right? Because there's a study out 2019, and I would say things are worse now, but in 2019 there was a study that said 40% of Americans don't have $400 in the bank for emergency. Not $400 cash, not $400 in the savings account. not even $400 on their credit card. So this is a very bad situation for most Americans, well, for 40% of them, because you really do need to have some emergency money. We think that when the doo-doo hits the fan that everything is just going to collapse and that's it. But it doesn't usually go that way. It goes in stages. It deteriorates. So let's say you wake up one day and the bank say, we're closing our offices. So now you can't get your cash out of the bank. Credit cards might still work, but you can't get to the bank. So now what do? Your credit card's maxed out. You don't have any cash. Now try to go buy.
Here's a new one too, Stefan. I broke this one on the show yesterday, and I wish I could say it was breaking news, but it was like a few days old or whatnot. But apparently, for major retailers that are linked to Visa and MasterCard, they're rolling out like a second step. Like, how sometimes when you work through a certain websites, or I don't know, like whatever it is that you're doing online, like you have to go through like a two-step authentication system.
Yeah, I hate that.
Okay, well, we all know, like when you go to the store or whatnot, you'll put your bank card in, and it'll read the chip, right? Which the chip will eventually be in your right hand or your forehead one day. We know that, at least from a Christian perspective. But they're now saying, in order to even make that transaction, you're going to have to do biometrics. It's going to be facial recognition, or like a finger or palm recognition. And they want to roll that out globally by the end of this year. Like, I knew that was coming, but I didn't realize they were going to try to get this across by the end of this year. And in certain countries, they've already started it. Like, they're test piloting it. I'm like, oh man. So my point is, you got to factor that in even before like banks are closing or whatnot. Like, if you're not going to go down that path, I mean, I'm assuming there'll be like a firewall up, like on Amazon websites too. Like, if you're trying to do anything like online like that, I'm sure they're going to throw up firewalls there too. So I don't know. Could be even shorter period of time that we think we have for preparing. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we know where they're going with all this. I'm trying to prepare for all the eventualities from here to zombie apocalypse, right? So,
All right.
one thing that I've done is I got another credit card. I got a Capital One card. Now, originally they gave me $300 credit on it, which is like, that's nothing. But I made some small purchases, $20, $30. I paid them off on time. Now, a year later, they've increased my credit to $800. Now, I don't owe a penny on that credit card. So that credit card is also in my bug out bag. Now, if I can use it, because, I learned the hard way that you can't do anything without a goddamn credit card. I hate credit cards with a passion. I knew 40 years ago when they came in, at that time, the very first credit card was called the Diners Club card. And I knew back then that this was a very bad idea. Credit cards are a very bad idea. But anyways, let's try to take advantage of it. So now I've got $800 credit on my Capital One card. And what I've learned, like I said, the hard way, is you can't rent a car without a credit card. You can't rent a hotel room without a credit card. I tried when I went to California. Oh, how long ago was that? Almost 20 years ago. I had like $5,000 cash on me. I tried to rent a car. They said, let's see your credit card. I said, I don't have one. Well, we can't rent you a car. I said, well, what if I give you $5,000 cash as a deposit? They said no. So let's say it's things are getting rough, but they're not. It's not the complete end yet, and they haven't implanted the chip in your prostate yet, where you need to have a card reader shoved up your butt, which is what they'd like to do, I'm sure.
Yeah, they'll have fun with it, I'm sure.
Yeah. So listen, if I had to get out of town now, okay, let's say things are getting really bad. I got to go up north. I need to rent a car. I'll put my bug out bag in the car and I'll take off up north and go camping in the mountains for a couple of months until things blow over. At least I can rent a car, because at $800, I got $800 on the Capital One card, and I don't use that card for anything. I don't touch it. It's clean. It's fully paid off, and that's in my bug out bag. So again, I got the $50 cash in the everyday carry, but I also got $800 in the credit card. You can also do things like buy credit cards. You can go. They sell them everywhere. So if you want, if you have the money, you can put, buy a $200 credit card just in case you need it, because some places won't take cash. So then at least, you got a gift card for $200 from the local bank, or a gift card for $500. At least you can use that then. So cash and credit. The final thing I recommend is you need cash at home. Now, I recently read an article from the Economic Times that suggests that everybody should have cash at home. And again, because maybe you have to pay your bills and you can't get money out of the bank, and your credit card is maxed out, or you need to do the bio data to make your credit card work, and you're not willing to do that. Let's hope that they still take cash, right? It's recommended that you have at least $2,000 in cash in the house. I prefer small denominations. I prefer 20s. And so that's basically what I have. I've got $2,000 cash in 20s. Now listen, I'm a poor guy. It took me like 6 years to save up that $2,000. I always like to have cash in the house. It's emergency money. It's not part of my budget. It's not something I would spend. If I can't buy food, I will fast for a couple of days before I touch that money. That money is when, all hell is broken loose. I got to get a car. I got to get out of here. I got to get medicine. I got to go to the doctor. I got to go to the dentist. I got to pay these people. That's when I use that. And I don't use it for anything else. So and like I said, it took me, 8 years to save up that money. Now, the good news is another study done last year says that half Americans don't have $250 at the end of the month. Well, okay, so you have $200 at the end of the month. Put that as your emergency cash. And after 8 months, well, there you go. You got your $2,000, I think. So put aside that cash in the house, in a quiet place. And that, again, is only for emergencies. What if you get laid off? What if your pension check doesn't come through, and the landlord and the sheriffs at the front door are banging down your door? You got to get out unless you pay them something on the rent or something on the mortgage. Well, you got your cash there. Hopefully, that will still be of value. And we don't know when the currency is going to crash. We don't know when the banks are going to crash. We don't know. But we've got stopgap strategies all through that. So I've got my emergency cash in the everyday carry. I got my $2,000 cash at home. I've got my $800 credit card in my bug out bag. And then if none of that works, cash, credit cards, none of that work, then you still got 6 gold coins sewn into the belt of your bug out bag.
Now, what about like silver or any other precious metals? You advocate that? I know I've got quite a few economists. Like I have John Rubino coming on next. He's a big advocate for all precious metals, really, but he's even got some commercials out on TV. What do you make of like silver and some of this other stuff?
Well, I think silver is really going to be the breakout metal, right? They've suppressed that like crazy. I used to buy silver back in 2004 for $50 an ounce. That's what it was back then. And we know that silver should be reasonable at $250 an ounce right now, if they weren't suppressing it. So if everything collapses, if the currency collapses, then that silver is going to be worth upward of $250, $500, $1,000 an ounce. Who knows? Look at what happened during the Weimar Republic in Germany, when the Deutschmark collapsed and people would have to bring a wheelbarrow full of cash to the bakers to get a loaf of bread. In that kind of a situation, then, or look at Zimbabwe when they're printing $1 trillion notes, for crying out loud. So, so if that happens here, and we know it's going to happen here, folks, we don't know when, but it will happen, that the U.S. dollar will lose all value. So then, what's the value of a silver coin? $1,000, $10,000, $1 trillion, right? So now gold is a little bit expensive, I try to, and I've been buying gold for 20 years, but not, I don't have a lot. It's just like, at the end of the month, if I got an extra $200, okay, I'll buy four gold, silver coins, right? If I got an extra $300, well, I'll buy a tenth of an ounce gold coin. So about 2, 3 times a year, I spend $500 to buy some gold. But listen, after 20 years, it adds up to a little bit, right? So if you can't afford to carry half an ounce of gold in coins, then buy 6 ounces of silver. Because when the crash comes, that 6 ounces of silver is still worth more than all the cash you can carry in your backpack, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'm all in favor of silver and gold. I tend to buy my silver and gold is 1 ounce of silver for every gram of gold. So if I got an ounce of gold, which is 31 grams, I also have 31 ounces of silver. And that's the way I buy it.
Good stuff. Yeah, man, it's a lot to consider. Emergency funds. What about? Well, we were talking about this in times past in regards to like building up of cigarettes and alcohol. I mean, could we put aside a stash of that maybe just for maybe having to have to pay off some debts? I don't know if everything's become so localized. You know what I mean? Maybe if you needed help, like I don't know, like say you're elderly and you couldn't mow the lawn or do something on the roof, maybe pay some people off with a couple packs of cigarettes or something. I don't know.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, we've talked about this before. So those are barter items. So what I was discussing today is cash,
Right.
money, right? So cash, physical cash, credit cash, and let's face it, gold and silver is cash. When you have it in your hand, that's cash. Now, barter items, absolutely. I just went to the Indian reservation a couple of days ago, and I bought another 12 cartons of cigarettes for $25 a carton. Now, if you buy them from the government store here in Canada, that carton it costs $125. I get it for $25 from the Indian reservation. I still add a Mickey. Now, a Mickey's 12 ounces, small bottle of vodka. I like vodka because it's kind of universal. Everybody, can drink it kind of thing. It's my personal favorite hard drink, even though I haven't touched vodka in years. But anyways, if I were to drink, it would be vodka. Um, so I have my Mickeys of vodka. The only problem is that they're not as portable. If I put 2 ounces of silver in my belt, that's going to be worth more than a dozen bottles of vodka, and I can't carry a dozen bottles of vodka around, right?
Uh-huh.
So, but I would still diversify my wealth that way. So, have the cash in your pocket, have the cash at home, have a credit card that's functioning, that's got some money on it, because again, you might just need to rent a boat or rent a car or something like that. You can't do that with cash. You need the goddamn credit card. But if we're in a situation where the currency is completely collapsed and none of this is worth anything, then your silver coins, excellent barter items. I like the silver coins because I would never buy an ounce of gold. It's what, 2,000 something here in Canada for. Who's going to give you change for $2,000 worth of gold, right?
Right.
But 1 or 2 ounces of silver, 150, 250, $300, you can still do things with that. And then, yes, for barter items, I have the vodka and I have the cigarettes, but now I've added to my barter items. And I'm still working on it. It's like an ongoing process here. But I bought like 80 pounds of rice, and I've repackaged, because they're in the big bags, 20 pounds a bag, 25
Mhm.
pounds per bag. I've repackaged them in mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. So now this rice is good for 10 to 15 years. And I've repackaged them into 2-pound bags. So I've got like 50 2-pound bags of rice, sealed, marked, good for 15, 20 years. Now there's a barter item. And, I've recently been part of a community here where I live.
Just saying the connection's real bad. I can't even hear you anymore.
Really? How about now?
Oh, there you go. Now you're back. Yeah, now you're back. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's been weird today. Weird connection.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I had a weird connection with you. But in case, I missed like that last like 30 seconds or so.
Okay, so what I've done is I've packaged that, 70, 80 pounds of rice into 2 pound bags
Hmm.
sealed in mylar with oxygen absorbers, and they are
Okay.
good for 10 to 15 years. Now,
Hmm.
that's another item to barter with. I belong to a community here. They're an agricultural co op. They grow a lot of their own foods. We're in contact with the farmers, and, they do a lot of barter. So that's another barter item. Let's say I need something, and I said, "Listen, I got 2 pounds of rice here. I got 4 pounds, 6 pounds. I can barter these packages of rice because everybody knows that's food, and 2 pounds of rice will last you almost a week. It's a big pot of rice, provided you don't eat a lot, and I don't. I eat one meal a day, so 2 pounds of rice will last me, well, 5 days, easy, right? So that's another barter item I have. I've done the same thing with flour. I bought 80 pounds of flour, repackaged them in mylar bags, 2 pound bags. I've done the same thing with pasta, repackaged them into mylar bags, and again, the shelf life for the rice and the flour and the pasta anywhere from 10 to 20 years. I mean, it's good for almost forever, right? And if you need to barter, then you go to the market, you go to the black market, you go to where the people that have food, and you say, "Listen, here I got 2 pounds of rotini, I got 2 pounds of spaghetti, I got 2 pounds of flour, which is enough to make 4 loaves of bread." So those are also barter items. They're in my long-term food storage for me personally, but
Right,
I'm
right.
buying extra and I'm packaging it up, right? So this is going to last forever. So I can barter with this stuff 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I can
Mm.
still use this for barter. So
Yeah,
now my wealth is completely diversified:
yeah,
cash, credit, silver, gold, vodka, cigarettes, and packets of food:
yeah.
spaghetti,
Good
pasta,
stuff.
flour, rice. I also got, I also did the same thing with salt and sugar. I packaged them into 2 pound bags. So, and they're sealed and they're good for 20 years, 15 years. So now I've got a lot of wealth, but it's diversified.
Mm.
So, depending on what the circumstances are of the collapse, if it's just a mild collapse, maybe I can still use the credit card. I'll use that. If it's a severe collapse, well then I'm down to silver and gold. If it's a total collapse, then I'm down to bargaining cigarettes and rice. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's it. We got to become like our own stock market. We got to diversify as best as possible, right in your own home, ladies and gentlemen. And we appreciate Stefan's insights today. Again, look for this Sunday. Hopefully, we can get this show put together. And Stefan, before we let you go, let's do a little shameless self promotion time. Appreciate it.
Sure. So my website is chinastrategies.com. The best deal I have on there is my survival library. It's over, I think it's 308 books now. PDF files, right? So you don't have to carry these books. You just download it all onto a flash drive, and you access it through a Kindle reader or your iPhone or something like that, something that you can recharge. So you have an entire library, a wealth of information on everything from gardening to agriculture to raising rabbits to fishing, hunting, improvised weapons, escape and evade, marine training manuals, hydroponics, how to build a wind generator, how to build a solar generator, how to purify water, how to distill whiskey. I mean, there's books that will cover all of that. And this is the knowledge you'll need to survive. So it's called the Survival Library, chinastrategies.com.
Good stuff. There you have it, folks. Ladies from Stefan Verstappen. And, folks, we got to get ready for John Rubino here in a little bit from the Dollar Collapse website. Until next time, my good friends, stay safe.